business environment, this one is all about tax. So when you see the tax man, don't run, just click, because there will be help for you on what the taxes are that we need to look at for this lesson. So lesson 2, this one is so that you know all about tax in the UK. There are 5 different types of tax that we're going to look at in the UK, which are going to be relevant to you as soon as you start earning any money, even if it's a part-time job. And we're going to look at how to calculate those tax rates as well. So the vocabulary are continuous disposable income, which is from lesson 1. And then here are the 5 different tax rates. We've got income tax, as the word says, taxed on your income. National insurance, which is a deduction from your income, and we'll go into what that is. VAT stands for value added tax, that's usually on products. Corporation tax is, as the word corporation suggests, is a business tax, and then there's business rates. So those are the ones that we're looking at for key vocabulary. Success for today's lesson will be knowing which tax is relevant when you're discussing income and expenditure. We're looking at direct and indirect tax, being able to describe and calculate the 5 different tax rates. And the job focuses are tax inspector, because it's very important that all companies and individuals get this right. Tax advisor, that's another role to make sure that all these individuals get it right, and a chartered accountant. Well, for lesson 2 on UK tax, there are 2 tasks. You'll be quite happy to hear that it's a short lesson. So what is tax? Tax is paid by individuals and businesses to the government. The revenue raised through tax, revenue is another word for money, is then spent by the government on providing public services such as the National Health Service, education, defence, those sorts of things. The payment of tax is compulsory, and the amount paid is calculated by a percentage of earnings. Taxes can be broadly split into 2 types: direct taxation, taxation on income, and indirect taxation, taxation on spending. Income tax, national insurance, and corporation tax are examples of direct taxation. VAT and business rates are examples of indirect. And we're going to look into all 5 of those, just those 5, and we're going to just look at the percentage rates of each and knowing when to deduct them. So let's break those 2 types down a bit further. Direct taxes have to be paid by the individual direct to the government. There is a direct link to the amount a person earns and how much tax they pay. Direct taxes are progressive. Basically, that means the more you earn, the more you pay. Indirect tax is a tax on expenditure and not on income. The good or service bought is taxed, so regardless of how much a person earns, they will all pay the same rate of tax on the goods or service. Businesses that have to pay indirect tax often pass this cost on to consumers by increasing their prices. Indirect taxes are called regressive, as they are not based on the ability to pay. That means it's not linked to how much you earn. It's an indirect tax, so it doesn't matter how much you earn, it's that one rate that you have to pay. So first task, there are 5 questions to answer. The first question, what does income mean? And remember, income, let's break the word down. It's all about money, obviously, so it's money coming in to the person or the business. So it's what has the business or person got to do? Well, usually they go to work or the business is running and making sales. So income is about the money that the business or individual generates usually through work. Question 2, what does expenditure mean? Now again, this is about the individual and the business. So if we look at it in terms of the business, the retailer, they're going to have to spend in order to run their business. They're going to spend money on wages, on electricity, all these things. So it's what they spend on. Just like the individual, where they spend money on their property in terms of electricity and food. And this isn't copy and pasting, folks. Both these answers need to be in your own words. Question 3. Direct taxes are applied to which one? Income or expenditure? So all you've got to do is choose which of those two words to go as your answer for number 3. If you're stuck, try and do it from memory from the last slide. Do flip back and have a double check to see if you got the answer right. Question 4. Give 2 examples of direct tax. Let's see if you can remember from the last slide. It's direct tax, so that means the more you earn, the more you pay, so it's all to do with earnings, and there were 3 to choose from in order to give some examples of direct tax. So let's see if you pick the right slide to go back and revise from. And question 5, indirect taxes are applied to which one? Income or expenditure? You've got to choose the right word for your answer. Have a go, see if you remembered, and flick back just to double check. Task 2. There are several types of tax payable in the UK, however you only need to know about the following types. There are 5 listed in the table below, and you need to find out what published percentage rates there are for these. We are going to go into the definitions of each, but to break it down, they're all going to have their own areas of learning to go through to make sure it's not overloading. So right now we just need to find out the percentage rates. There's a hint at the bottom. If you search for each on the internet and add the word rate on the end of the phrase in the left hand column, and that should help you find out the answers, and the answers will be published separately. Number 5, business rates. It is not quite straightforward though, because these are rates on a business's property. So for this particular one, I would advise for you to search for how business rates are calculated, and for your answers probably be more accurate if you find out and write down how it's calculated rather than worry about particular numbers. Well, that's it. That was, as promised, the 2 tasks for the tax lesson. That's an introduction to what we're going to go into in a bit more depth for each of the ones. But for now, we just looked at the definitions and the tax rates. Well done. End of lesson 2.